Man, oh man, dude, what is going on, everybody? King Recon here. Welcome to day number 9 of the 25 days of Santa Recon, dude. Listen to me, dog. You know how we are talking about my favorite experiences from 2010 until present day, right? You know, favorite experiences that I've had within this decade. And I had been waiting to see when would be the proper time to really dive into my favorite experiences that I've had lately, like in 2019, 2018, because I've been mainly talking about my favorite experiences from earlier on in the decade. But, bro, it would not have mattered if I would have gotten into this series any time in this decade. Because this is by far and above one of my favorite catch-up journeys I have ever had, son. This series right here, this collaboration of legend. I have not watched many Shaft series. I am very ignorant to a lot of their works. I was very ignorant to them as a studio before this happened. But after experiencing this wonderful masterpiece, I was like, dog, one of these days I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go on one of the websites, I'm going to look at Shaft, I'm going to see what series they have on their log, and I'm going to watch one. I'm going to start banging them out, dog. Because after experiencing this, these individuals know how to direct from a visual and an audio standpoint. They know how to take full control. They know how to take full advantage of their medium. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the incredible collaboration, and not just the collaboration, man, not just the incredible tag team of legend of Nisio Isin and Shaft, but we're also talking about just the books. Just the Nisio Isin books as well, son. Bro, today we're talking about the incredible, the legendary, the Santa Hat level greatness known as Monogatari, man. You know, earlier this year, after I got into Chihaya Furu, I was so excited to seek out and find some new anime experiences. And it had been quite some time since I felt that way. And so, while searching for which experience I wanted to really get into, I came across Monogatari, and I was like, you know what? Araragi Senpai, aka Nasty Kaito, has always told me about this. So I'm going to surprise him. I'm going to come on here, I'm going to watch the first episode, and I'm going to give my reaction to it. And that led into possibly a top contender for my favorite video series I have ever done on the YouTube channel. Up there with like the Recon's piece and other things I've really enjoyed doing on the channel. That Monogatari catch-up journey is so special to me, man. It truly was not King Recon. That was Omar experiencing a series of legend and having someone to talk about it with. Because the wonderful thing about that journey, especially when it first started, was that absolutely no one aside from my brother knew that I was into the series. So if I wanted to get something off my chest, I couldn't go into the DMs. I couldn't go into the Discord. I couldn't go into the comments. I couldn't even say it in a YouTube video. I had to keep it all to myself. And that entire first month, when I was experiencing greatness back to back to back, I held it in, I spoke it on camera, and it made it such an intimate and personal experience, truly, in front of a cameraman. And I loved it so much, especially at that point in time in my life, where I was transitioning from the old job that I've been with for so long, man, and transitioning into a new job. It was great to have Monogatari as that, get my mind off of what is currently going on. And it was just so much fun, bro. I mean, when I first got into Monogatari, the immediate first impression that I had, if y'all remember, was just how incredible it was from a visual standpoint. And what I mean by that is the visual direction, man. They took full advantage of the fact that they're a visual art form. Because some of those shots and some of those scenes, all of them, in that initial introduction to the series is just so impressive to me. Like, it drew me in. It felt like the first time that I watched Fooly Cooly and Evangelion, where the way that Gainax really immerses you from a visual standpoint is something that I don't really see that often, or I should say I don't normally see that direction type of style from other studios, where Gainax is really popular, especially like in the late 90s and like the early 2000s, like Fooly Cooly, Karekano, and Evangelion. Like they would utilize that type of extremely fast imagery coming at you, and a lot of other studios didn't really do that. But what was very unique about this particular way that Shaft handled the visual direction for Bakemonogatari was that not only would you have imagery coming in front of you, the way that it was presented was incredible. Like, yo, there's some incredible storyboarding shots of, like, the characters and some incredible camera angles that you only can have for, like, a split second. And so you have like this amazing shot of, for example, you have Araragi and Senjogahara like in the room, and they're having this regular conversation. But because of the amount of different shots that you have, it makes it an extremely memorable scene. Because you go from one shot of Senjogahara, the other one, she's turning her neck like this, you get a close up into her eye, you get another shot of like an overbearing shot of like both of them from the top, you get to see Araragi's eye, then whenever Araragi's speaking, you go into his mind, it goes black and it shows text, and I'm like, bruh! It's like completely taking advantage of the fact that it's a visual medium. And you can tell these dudes did not slack off in the slightest. They put in effort into all 22 minutes of every single episode. And I appreciate that so much, man. I mean, I truly, truly do. I wish that I could have gone and talked to whoever it is that were working on that episode and be like, dog, I appreciated your effort. Because as somebody who's been into this medium for a long time, it really, really gets to me sometimes whenever I see the I shouldn't. I mean, there's never it's kind of hard to word because it's just a preference in style, right? A preference in the way that things are handled. Because even though other studios may not do that, it doesn't mean that they have lack of effort. They just have a different way of going about things. And I really loved the way that Gainax handled their stuff. So seeing how Shaft did it, and to me, Shaft did it in a way that I prefer it. Because yes, I mean, still, I think Eva, especially like the last few episodes, still have like some of my favorite art direction in an animated series. But just the consistency in Monogatari throughout, having that take place throughout all of those seasons, was just so impressive to me, man. And listen, I always talk about the visuals when it comes to Monogatari, and the incredible camera shots, the wide angles, the face shots, just how it always keeps you so immersed from a visual standpoint. I haven't even got to the soundtracks. Listen to me, dog. Let me pull it up. Listen. I listen to this almost every day. Not lately because I'm listening to Yumineko a lot. But before, I would say, especially during NaNoWriMo time and before that, when it was time for writing, when I was down, even when I was up, when I just needed to sit down and really let everything just sink in, the go-to soundtrack was the chill mix of Monogatari, man. Son, this series has some of the greatest variety of soundtracks that you will ever see in any anime. There are soundtracks in here that you can apply to an emotional moment, a hype moment, a depressive moment, a moment of self-reflection, a moment of a letter being written, greatness, an intense battle, a fight with monsters, a simple conversation, a perverted moment, or anything. Just think of it. Think of it, and Monogatari has like 10 soundtracks for each one. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, man. And then my personal favorite selection of those mainly come from the Neko Monogatari, both the Shiro and the Kudo. The amount of like lo-fi sounding soundtracks in that portion, oh my god, bro. I mean, some of those soundtracks I can listen to on repeat. Just like 2 minutes and 36 seconds of like repeat. I can listen to this all day. And I haven't even gotten to the openings and endings. I adore that this series gives the opportunity for the voice actress and or the voice actor or the whichever seiyuu is in charge of that particular arc to go in and sing a song that really fits the particular arc that the opening is for. And I really, really appreciate that because it adds another level of personal intimacy into the story. Like whenever Senjugahara is singing Staple Staple, and you start off an episode like that, dude, that song stuck with me. And anytime that it plays after that, I'm like, yo, like stuff like that. And my personal favorite, I mean, it's hard because it's between two. Dark Cherry Mystery, I still listen to this very day. I adore it. There's just something about the beat and the rhythm and the fact that every time I listen to it, I not only have memories of Ogi and Ogi Dark, but I also just have like very incredible vibes that also stick into like my own story. Like it's Dark Cherry Mystery, such a great song. And then to me, what is the best opening is Mathemagics, man. Yo, that's so Dachi greatness, bro. Excuse me, yo, Mathemagics goes in so hard, man. Great stuff, but like there's so many incredible openings. All of them are great to me. And it just depends on the day on whether like I'm listening to one on repeat or listening to the other one on repeat. It's just a great selection. And the endings as well. And I'm mainly talking about them from listening to them standpoint. Listen, you watch those openings from a visual standpoint, very, very good. Very, very good. And it's just it's insane the consistency in those openings and the variety in the openings and endings of like different types of tunes, and it's just so impressive to me. And what's even more impressive is that I talk about variety when it comes to the soundtracks. I talk about the variety when it comes to the shots from the visuals. I talk about the variety when it comes to the openings and endings. If there's anything that this series is variety in, it's in its characters and situations, man. These characters and this cast has to be in some sort of like nomination for most memorable cast in an animated series of this like this type of this type of style and in this type of genre. My goodness, bro. I mean, it's like once you finish Monogatari, it's really, really, really hard to have a favorite. And there's so many great. There is no bad character in this series. There is I mean, I can't think of one. If somebody else want to spit one out, I can't think of one. Either somebody is very interesting, either somebody is extremely intriguing, either somebody is very well written, either somebody's very well developed, somebody's whatever. Pick it. You got it. It works. Like some days it depends. Y'all know how I feel about Ononoki. I'm a tard. Yo, peace, peace. You feel me? Yay! Peace, peace. And some days it's Ononoki. Some days it's Ogi. Some days it's my boy. One of the GOAT MCs, Araragi, flipping Koyomi, dog. Some days it's Hanekawa. Especially with how much I can relate to Hanekawa's story. Some days it's Senjugahara. Some days it's the legendary kiss shot. Asura Heart on the blade. Oh, come on, man. Shinobu Oshino greatness, and there's Oshino himself. Dog. Like so many great characters. And the variety of the situations that are placed in Kaiki, best girl Kaiki. Are you kidding me, dog? Like, bro, there's so many amazing characters. And then like you apply those characters into just their subsequent arcs. I love the way this series is written, man. And y'all know how I feel about episodic stories. I think the one way that you can convince me to watch and or experience a series is if you tell me that it's episodic with some sort of overarching payoff. Gintama, Bebop, Eva. Like, these series that mean so much to me and always have meant so much to me. Fooly. There's just so many incredible episodic experiences out there. Monogatari takes the episodic formula but applies it to arcs. It does what I love so much about One Piece, bro. You see, the reason why I love arcs so much in One Piece and why I think they're so much fun to discuss is because I feel like the arcs themselves have an episodic formula type of quality to them. Monogatari literally takes the Gintama approach of giving you episodic type of arcs. And that's what I think makes it so much fun. Because you never know what you're gonna get. Never! You can get into an arc, aside from one that's like obvious, like Ogi Dark or something, right? Where you just know that something crazy is gonna happen. They're like Hitagi End, you know, those type of end of season arcs. Aside from that, you really have no idea what you're getting yourself into, and that's so much fun. That is the unpredictability. The unpredictability aspect is why the Gintama Catchment journey was so much fun to me, because you never knew what was next. You never knew if it was a comedy episode, an emotional episode, a serious episode. You didn't know. Monogatari carried that very same thing, but then it's arcs within the same arc. This happened to me in Nisei Monogatari. Within the same arc, you would have insane amounts of trolling, insane amounts of just character interactions, which make this series really, really special. And in the following episode, it'll pop off. I remember whenever Ononoke was introduced, I was like, what the flying flanders is going on? And I was like, dog. And just the way that it's done in that manner is so impressive to me, bro, because it's hard to pull off. It's hard to pull off giving each character their time to shine. It really, really is. I remember whenever whenever I first got into it through Bake, I was so into the whole Senjugahara and Araragi relationship, I didn't want it to ever be off screen. I was like, yo, this is the driving force of the series for me. Hachikuji gets introduced, and has like that third element to it. I'm like, brother, yo, this is amazing. I love the way this is doing it. And I remember at the end of that first Hachikuji arc has the ending the ending song that plays before the episode ends, which is like a huge thing for me. I love whenever series do that. But then you start to introduce, you know, Kanbaru. Kanbaru is another character I really love as well. I love them all, man. And then it just continues on from there, and you start getting introduced to more of the characters, Nadeko and whatnot, and just seeing their parts of the story, how Araragi connects to them. And as it continues, and you get to figure out more about the world, about the story, and about how things are, it's so much fun. And I think that initial Bakemonogatari journey was so much fun to me because it reminded me of early Bleach, where I was like, dude, like, yo, this is giving me mad early Bleach and early Hakusho vibes, which is always really nostalgic. But even though I always saw its genius, and even though like stuff from the first and from Nisei, from Nekomonogatari Black, really had some incredible stuff. And I was able to see Nisio Isin's greatness in those arcs. I think I truly got to appreciate him as a storyteller in terms of how he is at weaving stuff and of making stuff connect in certain ways was in Monogatari second season. Monogatari second season, I blitzed through that, man. That has, if I were to make a top 10 favorite Monogatari arcs, I think Monogatari second season would own at least 5 of them. Tsubasa Tiger fights for my favorite stuff in the entire series. Episode 5 of Tsubasa Tiger is one of my favorite episodes I have ever watched, and I think it is my favorite episode in Monogatari. It's hard because the final episode of Ogi Dark is absolutely phenomenal, and the final like portion of Hitagi, and I mean there's just so much, bro. But I'm just talking about the episodes. If we're putting in Kizu Monogatari art, now I gotta put that up there too. But when I first watched episode 5, it just hit so close to home that I couldn't help but have it as one of my favorites. And now when I think back on it, like as I think I experienced that, was it like 6, 7, maybe longer, that months ago. And still to this day, when I think back to episode 5, I still have the same feelings. One of the greatest episodes I've ever watched, man. I don't know if it's my favorite in this series, but I know for a fact that and probably something else have like a spot up there as one of my greatest episodes ever. It's just absolutely incredible, man. Tsubasa Tiger, like, I remember when I finished that arc, I was like, oh, this series is special. I already knew it was special, but that's when I really, really said, I was like, dog, this is my stuff. And it continues on from there. Dude, I forget the name of the arc now, but the arc whenever they meet Hachikuji in the future, just had me so addicted because I love stuff like that, man. It's why I absolutely adore the Future Arc and Reborn. It's why I adore certain things in a series I'm going to talk about later on within this series. But I always adore whenever they take some sort of dip into the future, and the twist that they had in this particular a version of like that, going saving the future from destruction, and if the future's already destroyed, what happened to it, that type of mystery aspect. I just loved how Nisio Isin handled it, and seeing how Shinobu really was at that point in time, and having those sequels. Oh, dude, that joke was so good. And the stuff with Nadeko, which got me completely off guard. I was like, what in the flying flagners is going on? Haji Kuji, that junk destroyed me, dog. My heart still hurts to this day because of that scene. And then Hitagi End, man. Hitagi End, I think, impresses me as much as it does because Araragi is almost completely out of the picture. So you are basing this entire story and the driving force of it through Senjugahara and Kaiki, and through all the build-up that we've had with them, and after we've been introduced to Kaiki. I mean, Senjugahara has always been one of the major factors, so having her being a main central part of the story was really cool too. But because there was already that well-established connection between the two, and then you have the like Hanekawa's little snooping around, which became very relevant later on, and it's just all these little things that made Hitagi End such a masterful arc to me. And then it ends off with the mystery being solved with what really happened with Nadeko, which really, really shocked and impacted me. Because it's one of those, you have to accept yourself type of moments. Like, don't hide what you really, truly want to do. And it's one of those things to where it's like, yeah, I got the message, man. What a beautiful way to weave in a theme like that into a mystery, because it's true. So many people are afraid of chasing their dreams and bury their dreams so far within their soul that if one were to actually become a villain of that magnitude because of certain X, Y, and Z, and somebody reaches into their closet and pulls out what's like actually true out here, then Flagnards, the truth has been revealed. And whenever that happened, and the real deal, clean out the closet and some Eminem stuff, and finding out what's really in there and what that person is really like, and when you bring that into fruition and you bring them back to who they are, it's incredible. I love that arc, man. Araragi greatness. And then with Hana, bro, I mean, I absolutely adored the gym sequence. That's still one of my favorite sequences in the series. But even more so than that, a true one of my favorite scenes in the series is the car, man, with Araragi and Kanbaru. I mean, there was some fire dialogue being spit in that stuff, man. Amazing stuff. Suki, I mean, you already know. Double T, you feel me? Double T greatness. Ononoki, getting more insight on Ogi, just incredible stuff. And I really enjoyed how much Isin really focuses on the family aspect and whatnot. I think that's why I enjoyed Nisei so much. And he dived into that slowly, or I shouldn't say slowly, but in separate different sections of the series. But then we get to Owari, man. Actually, no, before we get into Owari, there was another portion that I still think, if I should, right? I should consider this. Yeah, I should consider an arc. I mean, it's a movie, but it's an arc. Koyomi Vamp. Some days it is my favorite. I can't lie. It's hard because I love Ogi Dark so much, and Tsubasa Tiger. But Koyomi Vamp is genius. Koyomi Vamp is genius, man. I'm a sucker for good origin stories. I'm a sucker for good stories that tell how the world was before you reached episode 1. When you can pull that off, it almost always ends up being one of my favorite parts of that story. Kizu Monogatari put the series on an already higher playing field than I already had it whenever I finished second season. This stuff right here is masterful, man. And to me, equally as masterful in the anime. And those movies are some of the greatest experiences, dog. Like, yo, they are from beginning to end out of this world. I still think the third one. Oh, well, it's hard. I think I'm gonna have to go with the third one. With the third one being the most visually striking movie I have seen. It's right next to End of Eva and Adolescence of Utena in terms of how it is that it utilizes its visuals. It's just out of this world, man. I mean, all three of them are like that too, which is insane. Like all three movies, all three Kizu movies have that same level of consistency, and it's out of this. It's insane. It's insane. God, man, Shinobu Mail, Shinobu Time. Shinobu has had some incredible arcs, bro. That amazing sequence in Nisei with her and Araragi in the bath, where you really, I mean, that was my first time of actually like, holy flagnards, bro. This series is diving into some real deep stuff with the characters, and I really like that. Like, I enjoyed the having Shinobu. I mean, Shinobu and Araragi's relationship was one of my favorite things about the series anyway, but that's where it really started, was in that episode of Nisei. Just seeing how that went from there, and like seeing how it grew all the way from Kizu. Kizu's soundtracks are amazing too, dog. I think that one fights with the Neko stuff for my favorite soundtracks. I love listening to the Kizu soundtracks, man. Great stuff. But it's Kizu Grassum Sauce, and then but we get into Owari, man. I was hyped to get into Owari because in the picture for Owari, whenever you click on it on Crunchyroll, it has Ogi, and I was like, oh. And that, for like the entire journey, I had been hyping up Ogi. I was like, bro, I want to see Ogi. I want to know more about Ogi. Know more Ogi. And leading up to that, like, I just adored the Ononoki's personality so much. Like Ononoki's entire weirdness. Like, it's just, I love characters like that. I love characters that are very out there and weird with the way that they are, and Ononoki's probably one of the weirdest in anything. And then I love like the bombastic charisma that comes from a character like Shinobu. But then you have a character of much intrigue, a Hisoka type of character, where you're just extremely interested in knowing what makes that character tick. Why is it they're like this? And it has like that Crollo effect of like, you know this person's a beast. Like, you know this individual is legendary. Because they're always calm. And Ogi was always calm. Every time we saw Ogi was always extremely calm. So I was like, okay, we're leading up to something. And when you start off Owari Monogatari, and the mystery starts revealing itself from there when it comes to Araragi's past. And then he goes to the Sodachi stuff, bro. Yo, those Sodachi arcs hit so hard here, dude. Amazing stuff. Man, dude, Owari 1, it was just non-stop greatness from beginning to end. And then in Koyomi Monogatari, which went back to the episodic, real, actual episodic formula, going from episode to episode, and like episodes would be half. Like, it would have like one half belong to the one particular story that would, and I think all of them got their own episodes too. Like, you had an episode for Hitagi, you had an episode for Hanekawa and stuff like that. Like, it was really cool just to be able to see those that take place in different portions of the story. And the most shocking moment in the entire series to me, man, in episode 12 of Koyomi Monogatari. After that, I didn't sleep. I mean, I didn't sleep a lot when it came to the series, now that I think about it, especially during second season and in Owari and definitely for Owari. I did not sleep that night at all. Like, Koyomi to Owari, there was no sleep that night, Skip. And I would dare say same for Monogatari second season, because I think I would just went very straight through that. But Koyomi episode 12 really shook me. because the way that everything had been built up until that point in time, I didn't expect us to have everything connect in the way that it did in that episode. And so when it pops off, and then at the very end, you see Hachikuji again. Oh man, dude, I was like, what are we doing, dog? And I was just so happy to see Hachikuji again, but I was so shook at the fact that Aradagi just got pwned. And then you go into the amazing Owari S2, man. My goodness, man, with Mayoi Hell, Hitagi Rendezvous, and Ogi Dark. Those arcs back to back, man. I mean, I was just so happy to have Hachikuji and Araragi interacting together again. It was because for some of the greatest character interactions. But Hitagi Rendezvous was full of so many incredible pieces of dialogue from both Senjugahara and Araragi, and then Araragi and Ogi. And it was just so much greatness. And I was like, bro, I need it. Then Ogi Dark came in and everything changed. I was like, bro, this series is masterful. This series is masterful, man. No, I'm not talking to you, Siri. Relax. Relax. But I was like, dude, yeah, this is out of this world. This is insane. Flipping Flagnards. I mean, the way that the mystery was, when I found out what, like, the truth behind Ogi, and the legends start showing up, you see why it is Hanekawa was looking. Oh man, and that's the way everything fits. After finding out the truth, and you're like, my God, like everything makes sense. The bike sequences, Dark Cherry Mist, and you're like, no, it was right in front of my face the whole time. The shirt and Hana, and you're like, damn it makes sense. Incredible. And just that entire sequence is so emotional and so well done. And the end of that episode is out of this world. I teared up like hard 100%. I mean, I did several times for Monogatari, but that was the one I did the most. Was for the end of S2, man. I was hurt. I was like, yo, this feels like the end of an entire series. And then Komi Reverse happened. Same way that I'm a big fan of stuff that happens in the future, because it presents like a different type of story to tell. I adore parallel universe stories, and that entire sequence and story taking place in a mirror world of where they are, and the way that connects to the overall theme and world that needs to be seen as established, and the type of themes and lessons he really wants to implement were really well done in Kiyomi Reverse. And I remember just finishing off that episode with that final Senjugahara and Araragi sequence. Like, bro, is this really over, man? Like, I was so hurt, bro. I was like, dog, I really is this really it? Like, is this really the end of this journey? And then I went on about the books because I needed something to fill in the hole in the heart, man. But I was like, dude, what an incredible experience. And it was just so much fun because as a storyteller, he was able to give you all of these incredible arcs to sink your teeth into, while this overarching plot is happening in the background. But the way that plot is being told sometimes will be like in different time periods. So like you'll get an answer to something that happened way before in a different season. And you'll be like, Flagnards, everything makes sense. And you had so many of those moments, and I appreciate that because it really makes you pay attention to what is actually going on here. I know that I'm battery dying. Who cares? We're talking about Monogatari, man. Screw the battery. The battery listens to the person who presses the red camera. And we're talking about Monogatari. You ain't turning off, Skip. But just, the way that the story was weaved together, the way that certain themes were put together into certain character arcs, the way that certain arcs just felt different compared to others, the way that some arcs actually looked and sounded different compared to the others. I remember whenever we first got that insight in the series itself, aside from Kizu, in the series itself to, what was that? I think it was Shinobu Time or Shinobu Mail. Whenever we got to see Shinobu's past in that one episode, where we had those incredible paintings of her past. You're like, Flagnards. Just incredible visuals, man. And just the way the series handled everything was just so incredible, man. Like I said, the directors behind the anime really knew what they were doing when it came to the sound and the visual design, because both were top notch. Both were top notch, man. And it's just such so much. It's such a fun episode, or such a fun series to experience. I cannot wait to give it another rewatch, man. And I went through the books, and I'm still going through the books, because some of the other ones that I don't have here, I bought digitally because they had a sale. They still have sales whenever you can get like some portions of Bake or Nisei for really really cheap, and I buy them. I own almost all of Bake on my phone, and so I buy them through there, and that's how I get my Monogatari fix. But one of these days, I need to sit down and watch the anime again, bro, and just have it all sink in, because rewatches for my favorites always make me love them even more. So Monogatari is already really, really, really high for me. Really, really high. Top 5 all time. And when I wonder, I wonder how, what extent it has whenever, when I give it that rewatch. Let's see how high it goes then, man. Monogatari is greatness, bro. And just the overall, like, because I always, like I said for the Hunter video, there's certain series that you really love in the moment, and there's certain series that you really that you love thinking about. Monogatari is both for me. I just really really enjoy thinking about it, and the journey and the lessons within the series itself. And I know I didn't get to talk about most of the characters individually in this video, but let me just talk about Araragi for a quick sec. Because I feel like Araragi is a very, very important character to have in a series like this. I feel like he really is the perfect main character to have for a series like Monogatari. And there's so many incredible lessons to be learned through Araragi that they're both are things that one should know, and are very things that are talked about all the time, and things that aren't really presented all the time, but in the way that both are executed really make those themes and or those lessons really stand out to you through him. And Araragi doesn't feel like a machine and or an item to deliver these themes. He feels like an actual living, breathing individual. And it just makes it so much fun to follow his journey and see how all of the characters interact with him. Because whenever you get to see how he interacts with certain characters, it always makes it a lot of fun. You know, that initial character interaction, whenever like he enters a room or enters a place, there'll be like 15 minutes in the episode of trolling, but it makes it so much fun. So whenever stuff will start going down in an episode, because you just had those 15 minutes of trolling to lean back on, now you have an emotional attachment to both the characters and to what's actually going down. So when stuff is hitting the fan and you remember all those moments that just took place, it makes you realize that's why all that stuff went down. And even like without having all that stuff, the character interactions in the series are worth it by themselves, man. I mean, some out of this world level dialogue when it comes to just having a natural flowing conversation that actually feels like an actual natural flowing conversation. And it's great. So many relatable characters, so many fun characters, and just the way that their stories are told. I cannot wait to see what is next in store from Monogatari. I don't know if I'll be able to experience that first in book format, or if I'll be able to experience it first in the anime. But whatever is next when it comes to the Monogatari journey, I can't wait, and I can't wait to experience Nishio Ishin's other works. I've read a little bit when it comes to Katanagatari, but I want to give it a watch, so I look forward to watching that and experiencing his other works that he's done as well, man. But Monogatari, absolute greatness. One of these days, I've got to sit down, and I think all of us just have to sit down and listen to the openings and the endings and just reminisce again. Because what an incredible series, bro. And truly, like I said, one of my favorite catch-up experiences ever. And it's mainly due to the fact that I was able to share it here on YouTube completely and still keep it a personal experience. Just incredible and something I'll never ever forget, which is why I put it and made it a part of this 25 days of Santa Recon, man, because that's what it's all about, man. But Albert has an awesome day, man. Take care. Well, first of all, I'm going to put a spoiler warning at the beginning, so that should be good. But if you have not watched Monogatari and you watch this thing, watch some Monogatari, bro. Watch some Monogatari, man. But for those of you that have watched Monogatari, let me know your thoughts and or experiences if you have experienced Monogatari in this decade, or even if you haven't. Whenever it was that you experienced it, your favorite moments, your favorite experiences or personal experience, something that like sticks out to you as like a memory when it comes to this awesome series. And I would love to read about it in the comment section down below, man. So we'll see y'all next time. Have an awesome day. Monogatari awesome sauce, man, dude. It's like, what a journey with so many different like arcs and stories that it just makes the entire package worthwhile, man. There's not really one that is so far above the others. They're just all so consistently so well done. Amazing stuff, man. Dude's a genius, bro. The dude is a genius.